Hi, everybody. Happy May. So it's been a couple weeks since we have had restorative yoga, and I don't know about you, but I am definitely, it's a little blurry. Hopefully it's going to find me in a second. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay. Hello. This must be super fun to watch at home. So it's been a couple weeks and I have missed our restorative yoga. My body definitely talks to me when we don't have it. And for anybody who's sort of following along weekly, your body probably talks to you too. And the last couple weeks have also just been energetically really funky. Pluto maybe doesn't realize that he's not a planet anymore. I don't know, but where Pluto has been has just caused, I think, this sort of angry energy that's out there. And there's been a lot of stuff in the past couple weeks. So coming into May, we're kind of moving into a new cycle. Actually, this month we have a full moon eclipse, which is really cool. And it's a good time to kind of get really clear about what you do want, what you don't want, sort of setting new intentions and ridding some of the old stuff that isn't serving you. So, so that's what we're going into energetically this month. The new moon eclipse is on the 26th, I believe. And I thought maybe I would draw a little affirmation card with you all here because I haven't done one today. So let's see what the universe says to us today. I use Gabrielle Bernstein's The Universe Has Your Back deck currently. Oh, this is a cool one. So it says, there is a stream of love supporting my dreams. I don't know why it's blurry. I'm really sorry. It's like not seeing me. I don't know. Hopefully it will correct. I did post a new playlist. I was super late posting it. I posted it about a half hour ago. If you follow along on Spotify, it's under Katmula Wellness May 2021. And I also shared it on the Facebook page and I shared it on Spotify. So it's public. You should be able to get it. If you can't find it, no biggie. Just use whatever music sort of works for you as background. I have always practiced with music. For me, yoga is very much like a dance. And I am able to really get into the practice and really sort of let myself go more when I follow along with music. So I do make monthly playlists, but everybody's different. And you may have music that works for you that you listen to in the background. But I always say this, I encourage you to set up some kind of atmosphere that you can settle into. So I've got my oils. I'm using lavender and wild citrus tonight because I feel like citrus is really helpful, especially when you're wanting to feel more aligned, maybe a little more energetic. It's nice to add in some citrusy smells. And the lavender has a very calming effect. So kind of a nice combination for setting up for tonight. And I also want to have sort of, because we've missed a couple weeks of this practice, I want to just have a really traditional restorative yoga practice where we can just settle into some of these poses and really just check out of the thinking mind a little bit. And maybe take the time now to start to think about what your intention is for tonight, for this month, for whatever's happening. Just as you're settling into the practice in the first few minutes, the first 5 to 10 minutes, we do some breath work and we really just kind of let our bodies reset and calm and slow the busy from the day. So, as you're doing that, really kind of think about what your intention is for tonight's practice. What is the stuff that you're holding on to, that you're showing up with? We all show up to the mat with stuff. We all show up. I mean, there's a reason you're here, there's a reason you come to practice on Sunday nights with us. There's a reason you do yoga in general. And for me, it's definitely a huge piece of helping my body um, to reset, to calm, to settle the nervous system, and really start to really just check out of the thinking mind. And even if it's just for an hour, it can be so beneficial, hugely beneficial for just gearing yourself up for a better week. And now, today, a new month, and just a new energetic flow that's come in. And so we'll start lying on our backs. And I actually want to start, this is different than what I usually do. And before I get into it, if you have props nearby that you can use, it's super helpful, especially in restorative practice, because the goal of restorative yoga is not to wrench yourself into these crazy yoga positions and, rush through like a vinyasa. We're not kind of flowing in and out of poses, but we're more getting into a pose and settling in and allowing our bodies to really settle and calm. And as you settle into those poses for a little bit longer period of time, you really do start to feel your body relax, and you start to feel some of that tension that you're holding on to will start to let go a little. So that's what we're aiming to do. So for restorative yoga, using props is helpful, just so that you're not overstretching or overdoing it, but really just getting into the practice and allowing your body to really settle. So a bolster and pillow of some sort is really helpful, a blanket. And then tonight we're also going to use a strap. I know most people don't just have yoga bolsters and straps lying around at home. So you can use a tie, you can use a belt, whatever you have nearby that you can grab that will sort of serve as this kind of maneuver for when we get to that point, which will be later. So grab whatever you need and set yourself up in this beginning part of the practice with your bolster or your pillow under your back. Sometimes I end this way, but I actually just want to start this way today. So this is a heart opener. This is going to really open up the heart chakra, and it's also going to allow you to really start to calm and settle the mind. So you're going to sit right up against that bolster and bring the soles of the feet together. And then almost like this butterfly position, you let the legs fall out, and don't get too caught up in this diamond shape here. So people get really sort of caught up in, do my feet have to be up here? Are they supposed to be here? Find a place where it's comfortable for you. Maybe you need extra space. So maybe your feet are all the way down here. It doesn't matter. You're still getting the same benefit out of the pose. So find a place where you can put the soles of the feet together, let the knees splay out to the sides, but not overstretching. And then you're just going to let yourself fall back onto this bolster or your pillow or your blanket or your stack of pillows and blankets or whatever you have. And then the arms are just going to rest down by the sides. And I actually, as I came to lie down in this position, already felt this little crack in my back, and I already felt my shoulders just sort of relax and open up. So that's why it's kind of a nice place to start and or end a restorative yoga practice, using this bolster underneath your back, giving your back a little bit more support and just allowing everything to settle. So the goal here in the first few minutes of the practice is just to get nice and heavy. And if you're following along with the playlist, then go ahead and start it now. The first few minutes are always set to some sort of meditative, calming music on my playlist. This is First Light. So this is about an 8-minute intro. Minutes, but we definitely are going to be here for a few. So as you settle in here, start to do a little body scan. Where are you holding on to tension? right now, today, what are you showing up with? What's sore? Maybe your shoulders are kind of up by your ears, and can you bring them down? Can you start to just relax the shoulder blades over whatever support you're using underneath, the pillow, the bolster? And notice right from the top of the head all the way down to the toes, what places you're bringing tension with you. Touching your jaw. Maybe your neck is really stiff right now. Maybe you're feeling sore in your legs or your hips. So this is the time to just start to take notice of all of those places that we don't really pay attention to when we're busy. So that's really the goal here, is letting go of the busy. And you'll start to notice that your breath just naturally on its own starts to deepen, starts to slow. And that progression of the inhale, lengthening the exhale, as you allow yourself to do that, you'll notice everything starts to feel a little calmer. Your heart rate starts to slow down a little. Your mind starts to let go of the busy, even if it's just for an hour. Give that to yourself. Give yourself that hour. And sometimes, if you're someone like me who has a hard time settling, that's definitely me. It's what draws me to yoga, because I have to really train myself to stop with the busy. It can help to use a count, maybe a count to 6 or 8 as you breathe in. And then notice as you get to the top of the inhale, can you take in just a little bit more air, just a teeny little bit more? And then exhale really slow. And this is the hardest part sometimes for some people. Being still. This is when you may notice that your mind will want to wander, and you'll start to sort of cycle through and tick through your to-do list for tomorrow or for later or for the week, and try not to do that. Acknowledge it's fine to, organize your brain, admirable even, but it can't be a constant way of being. We can't we can't live in a fight or flight all the time. So allow yourself to acknowledge those thoughts, and maybe even use the imagery of just a little sticky note and just write it down and put it away for later. And go back to your breath, go back to your intention, go back to that affirmation that we pulled of the love that is surrounding you and supporting you and whatever your goals are, whatever you're trying to accomplish. Most importantly, giving that love to yourself by being here and giving yourself this practice. So maybe start right at the top of your head and work your way down and loosen the jaw. If you find that you're one that clenches, which I am, it can help to take the tongue and just tuck it up in the top of the roof of the mouth, and then just loosen the bottom of the jaw. And then move down into the neck and the shoulders. And are you really allowing the shoulders to collapse over your support that's underneath you? Really opening up the chest, opening up that heart chakra to receiving the energy of our practice tonight. And then down into your abdomen, into the hips. And maybe that's where you're holding on to tension. We hold on to a lot of emotional tension in the hips. So we'll get into the hips tonight. We'll work through some of that. But you might already be feeling it in this position with the knees splayed out to the sides. You might notice that there is some tension here in the hips and that maybe it's already a little challenging to just be here. And that's not a bad thing. That's where the breath is a tool. As you breathe out, can you relax things down a little more? And can you maybe let go of some of whatever you're holding here? Sometimes we get into these positions and we kind of clench up and we hold them. So try not to do that. Try to just allow your body to be as heavy as you can. Let the ground support you. Let your pillow or your bolster support you. And focus on breathing in, nice, long, deep inhales. And maybe hold it at the top and exhale. Maybe open your mouth as you exhale. And just let an audible breath out. Just almost like a sigh even. Just letting go of tonight, I guess, 3 weeks worth of stuff. It's been a while since we've been on our mats on our Sunday nights. And if you are following along with the playlist, I really like this opening intro. It has sort of an ocean background to it. And right now I am craving summer. I'm craving the beach. I'm craving warm weather. I'm very glad it's May because April showers have been great for the grass and the plants, but I've had enough of them in this last week, as I'm sure you all have too. And it's okay. Whatever feelings show up, that's okay. Acknowledge it and try to use the practice to just start to work through it. When you're ready, we'll take one more big breath in here. One more big exhale out. And then bring the hands to the knees. You can start to roll up and bring the knees together slowly. We were there for a while, so it may feel a little stiff as you come up. And I want to start with just getting into the neck first. So you can move your support out of the way, your bolster, whatever it is you were using. And find your easy seat. So after we settle the nervous system and really allow ourselves to calm the body and the mind, you'll find that you just get more out of the practice. You get more out of the stretches than if you just try to jump in and start moving. It doesn't work as well that way. So to find your easy seat, give yourself those little adjustments so that you feel like your bottom is nice and flat on the yoga mat and the knees are heavy. The alignment is really important here. So roll the shoulders down and back. Keep the spine straight. The neck is long. Head is reaching up toward the ceiling. So you feel very straight, very aligned, but also relaxed. So you're not stiff here, but you're allowing the shoulders to roll down and back and relax back. And then we'll start with just right ear to right shoulder. So as you exhale, drop that right ear over to the right shoulder without letting that left shoulder come up. Keep. And already you should feel a nice deep stretch on the left side. So use your breath as a tool here. And as you exhale, Can you let that ear get a little heavier toward the shoulder? Keeping the shoulder blades down and back, so not letting them roll. Take 2 more breaths, and again, concentrating on the exhale. Can you get a little heavier as you're exhaling? Can you let that right ear come down a little further toward the right shoulder? And then we'll add into this a little bit with the arm. So bringing that left arm out, you'll start to notice right away when you find this position, but you're making a sort of like a stop sign gesture with your hand. So wrist. And then you'll bring that arm up and then maybe a little bit toward the back until you feel this extension of the stretch, not just from here in the left side of the neck, but all the way down your arm. And you'll know when you get there. It's kind of intense. Again, these little stretches, they don't like much, but they do a lot for tension in the shoulders and the neck and the jaw. Really good for migraine, which I deal with a lot. And breathe into that space. So again, as you're exhaling, you're letting that right ear get a little heavier. And then you can drop that left hand back down, roll the chin to the chest, and breathe here. So keeping the shoulders down and back. Again, just letting gravity guide the chin toward the chest. And you can even take your hands, interlace your hands behind the back of your head. And then again, you're not pushing, but just guiding the chin toward the chest just to get a little bit of a deeper stretch in the back of the neck. Little movement that does a lot. One more big inhale. One more big exhale. If you are using the hands here to guide your head down, you can drop the knees and then you're just letting the left ear go over to the left shoulder. So again, take the time to make those little adjustments, rolling the shoulders, down and back again if they got out of alignment. And breathe into that space here in the right side of your neck now. And as you're breathing, as you exhale, every time you exhale, can you get a little more space? Can you let that left ear get a little heavier toward that left shoulder? Again, these don't have to be big dramatic movements to really make a difference in where you're holding on to tension. And neck, shoulder, jaw, all very common places to hold on to tension for all of us. And then when you're ready, you can add in that arm movement on the right now. So making that little stop sign really as if you're saying stop with the right hand, and then reach it out to the side and then start to reach back until you feel that nice deep extension of the stretch coming from your neck all the way down your arm. And then breathe into that space as you exhale again. Can the ear get a little heavier toward the shoulder? These are tiny little movements, but they're very meaningful, tiny little movements. And also just a meditative state that we are able to achieve when we really allow the mind to stop being busy for a little while. One more big inhale. One inhale. And then bring that right hand back down. We're going to come into some side body stretches. So keeping that left foot in, and that left foot is going to press up against the right inner thigh. And then you're extending that right leg all. And then make some little adjustments if you need to. And this is another place where it might be helpful for you to use a bolster or a blanket if you don't have a lot of flexibility. And that's why you're here, right? So we're working towards getting little bits of space every time we practice. So give yourself a little bit of a shift so that your body is facing now toward that right foot. Right leg is extended, right foot is flexed here. And then you can use your blanket or your pillow right over your leg if you need a little bit of extra help here, a little bit of extra support, because the goal here is not to overstretch, but to be able to settle in. So we're taking a little forward fold here over the right leg, starting with reaching the arms all the way up toward the ceiling. Maybe look up toward the ceiling, lift the chin, getting a little stretch under the neck here. Take a big breath in, maybe rotate the wrists, wiggle the fingers, and then exhale, come all the way forward over that right leg. And if you do have some extra flexibility here, some space to come all the way down, then by all means come all the way down. But don't be ashamed or afraid to use your support. The goal is to find a place where you can settle in here and then use your breath as a tool. As you exhale, can you get a little heavier? So here you're going to feel this with a release in the lower back, and also there's a pretty deep stretch under the back of the right leg, the right thigh. And in these postures, it takes some time. We don't want to move right through them, but we want to breathe into those spaces where you feel that tightness. One more big breath in. One more big breath out. And then come up kind of slow. Drag the fingertips so that you really feel it. Roll the shoulders back and switch sides. So bring that right foot in. Left leg extends all the way out. And then again, you're going to shift so that you're facing more toward the left foot. Left leg is extended, left foot is flexed. Grab your bolster or your blanket if you're using that as an extra support. And then reach the arms all the way up. Maybe look up toward them. Again, rotating the wrist, wiggling the fingers, getting those places that we don't pay attention to. Exhale, come all the way down over that leg. And you may notice that one side is tighter than the other. That's totally normal. We tend to hold on to tension More on one side than the other, actually. We're all a little uneven. Like my left side is always much tighter than my right. So use your breath as a tool here. If you started to hold your breath, that's normal. We tend to hold our breath when we feel tension or any kind of discomfort. So try to, again, go back to the really big, deep inhale. Really long exhale. And as you exhale, can you get a little heavier over that leg? And be patient with yourself. Yoga is a practice. So if you feel stiff and sore, that's normal. I'm stiff and sore and I practice almost every day. So every day is different. Every day that you show up to the mat and you show up with something a little different. One more big breath in. One more big breath out. And again, come up slow. Come back to that easy seat. And we're going to go into our side body stretch. So you're going to drop that right arm down parallel with your right thigh. And left arm reaches all the way up toward the ceiling. So this is a place to really check in with your alignment and really pay attention to not allowing things to roll forward because that tends to happen. So give yourself the extra moment to bring the shoulders back, bringing the shoulder blades back where they should be, reaching that left arm all the way up toward the ceiling. Really reach, and stretch as if you're going to grab something off the ceiling. And then you can start to lean into that right arm and stretch that left arm over toward the right wall. As you do this, the left knee wants to come up. Keep it down. Keep the neck long. So don't collapse into this right side, but really using it almost as just a way to balance, to give yourself a little extra support. And then you can add in a little bit of a twist by just turning your head up toward your left arm. So you should feel a side body stretch here in the left side. And breathe into that space. And maybe you wiggle the fingers, maybe you one more big inhale. One more big exhale. And then inhale, come all the way back up. Maybe you rotate the shoulders a little, give yourself a little shoulder roll. And we're switching sides. So now your left arm is coming down parallel with your left leg. Same thing, other side. Reaching that right arm all the way up toward the ceiling. Take the time to make the little adjustment in your shoulder. So if you start to roll forward here, bring that shoulder back. Reach as if you're grabbing something off the ceiling. And again, try not to dump all the weight into the left side. So staying light here, just using it as a way to balance. And try not to let that right knee come up as you reach over to the left side this time. And you can rotate the wrist, wiggle the fingers, really reach until you feel that nice deep stretch in the the right side body. Already mixed up my rights and lefts. And you can start to twist up toward your arm if you want to add in that little extra bit of a twist. Breathe. So this is where the challenge is to use your core and use your strength to hold yourself up and not allow yourself to just collapse down into that left arm. One more really big breath here. Big exhale. Inhale, come all the way back up to center. We'll meet on hands and knees, tabletop position. We're going to come into cat-cow. I think every yoga practice needs a cat-cow. I think every day you should do a cat-cow. I think cat-cow is one of the most beneficial ways to get a kind of a quick stretch if you're looking to do something during the day that maybe feels really good and kind of an overall stretch. This is a good one to do. Even if you only have 5 or 10 minutes, it's a good one to do. So first, check in with your alignment, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Your back is straight. So you feel like you're one long straight line. You're not dipping here. And then you're going to inhale, drop the belly, chin comes up, tailbone comes up. Exhale, round it out, and maybe really exaggerate your movement here. So really round it out, tuck the chin up, tuck the tailbone down. Inhale, dip the belly, chin comes up, tailbone comes up. Exhale, round it out. And then on your own breath, I'm going to stop talking and just close your eyes and really feel it out. Now we're going to add on to this with just some circles. You're going to dip the hip as you inhale, dip the right hip down toward your toes, and exhale, bring it around to the front. So sticking with that pattern of breath, inhale, drop the hips back, circle around, exhale, come forward. Just getting into the hips a little here. A little warm up. And now reverse. So inhale, switch and bring the left hip back toward the toes. Exhale, up and around. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale, up and around. And then come back to your tabletop position. We're going to get into those hips a little bit more with one of your favorites if you if you follow along with me. I'm just kidding. No one likes this, but it's good for you. When you're ready, lift that left knee out, keeping the leg bent, keeping the foot flexed. Start to make circles, not dumping weight on the right side, but keeping the weight evenly distributed. This is really getting into the hip joint here. And it also takes a lot of core, a lot of upper body strength to hold yourself up. Stick with it. And then switch, reverse, go the other way. You're getting into the back of the glutes here too. So you'll feel it. You might get a little bit of a shake. That's okay. And then bring that knee back down. Take a moment, catch your breath. Maybe take a cat-cow here. So inhale, chin comes up, tailbone comes up. Exhale, round it out. Go into the other side. Lift that right knee out this time, keeping the leg bent, keeping the foot flexed. Start to make circles. Again, keeping the weight evenly distributed, supporting yourself with both arms, with your core. Using your breath as a tool, building up a little heat. And then reverse. And then bring that knee back down. Bring the big toes together, knees as wide as the yoga mat. Sink all the way back. Take an extended child's pose. And sink into it. So really reach the fingertips all the way up toward the top of the yoga mat and really sink the tailbone all the way down toward your toes. Should feel really good right now. Let your forehead rest against the mat, against the ground. It's very grounding for that third eye. And maybe take the hands, make a little namaste, and bring the hands behind the back of the neck and walk the elbows toward the top of the yoga mat. So you get a little bit of a deeper stretch under the underarms. We got a lot of positivity flowing on this playlist for May. I'm digging it. So if you did take that little reverse namaste behind the back of the neck, reach the hands all the way out again toward the top of the yoga mat and just walk the fingertips all the way over toward the left. Just a little extra stretch here in the underarms and the shoulders. And then walk the fingertips over to the other side toward the right. And then bring the fingertips back to center and push yourself back up into your tabletop position again. So lining up, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. And we're coming into puppy pose. So you're going to come down onto the forearms from your tabletop and then start to walk the forearms forward toward the front of the mat and sink down. So sink that chest right down onto the mat as low as you can get it. And you have a couple options here for what to do with your head. You can let the forehead rest on the yoga mat like we just were. You can rest on one side or the other. So turning the head toward the right or left if you feel like you've got some tension in the neck that you need to work on one side or the other. Or you can rest right down on the chin, really deepening the stretch underneath the neck. So wherever you decide to go with it, again, this is one of those that we have to sit with it. So come back to your really big, deep inhales and exhales. Really reaching those fingertips toward the front of the mat and sinking your chest down. So we're going to take 2 more really big, deep inhales and exhales here. Make them count. Maybe make these the biggest inhales and exhales you've taken all day. Sigh it out. And then we're going to sink back onto the toes, drag the fingertips and come up onto the knees. We're going to take a camel variation from here. I'm going to turn so you can see me. So take a minute to do that little check-in with your alignment. So you want to feel, again, like you're nice and straight. Your spine is one long straight line. Roll the shoulders down and back. And you're up on the knees. You can take whatever variation works for you here. We're all a little bit different and you may not feel great. This is a little bit of a back bend and it doesn't feel great for everybody. It can be intense. So take what you need. Start with just putting the hands on the lower back. So right in that spot between where the tailbone meets the bottom of the spine, the small of your back. And this is where you're going to use your hands as sort of a support. Start with just one arm. So dropping that right arm first down. Reach for that right ankle. See how that feels. Keeping the left hand where it is. And if that feels okay, play with dropping that left hand down toward your left ankle. And you can let the head come back, the chin come up, and really allow yourself to sink in here, or maybe that doesn't feel good to you and you stay here and just start to bend this way. So take what you need. Wherever you are, we're going to take 3 really big deep inhales and exhales here. When you're complete to come out, you're going to bring one hand up to the small of the back again. Use your core to lift yourself up and bring that other hand to the small of the back. Sink back down onto your backs of your feet. So from here, you're going to walk the hands forward back into your tabletop position, but tuck the toes this time and push all the way up into your downward facing dog. And this is our first down dog. So pedal it out. Maybe bend one knee, extend the opposite leg, switch sides. Downward dog is an inversion, and it can be really calming, actually. But as much as people say it's a resting pose, I don't really think it is. I think it's a pretty active pose. That's just my opinion. Maybe try pushing up onto the toes so you get a little stretch in the backs of your feet and the front of your toes. Bring the heels back down. Try that again. Lift the heels up. Exhale, bring them back down. One more time. Inhale, lift those heels up. Exhale, bring them back down. Check in with your position here. So you can do that by bending the knees, drop the belly onto the thighs, then straighten your legs. And that's where you should be for your down dog. When you find that, we're starting with the right side. So you're going to kick the right leg all the way up behind you. Bring the right knee in, so bending it toward your chin. Exhale, kick it back out. 2 more of those. Inhale, knee to chin. Exhale, 1 more. Knee to chin. Kick it back out and open the hips. So kick that right foot toward the opposite wall and breathe. And then drop that right leg down. Take a little pedal here. And we're switching sides. So again, checking in with the alignment, make sure you're where you want to be, and then kick that left leg all the way up behind you. Knee to chin. Kick it out. Knee to chin. Kick it out. 1 more. Knee to chin. Kick it out. Open the hip. Kick that foot toward the opposite wall. And breathe. Bring that left foot down. We're going to set up for pigeon, but we're going to come down onto the knees. Grab your props or whatever you tend to use for your pigeon. And if pigeon is not for you, if you're not digging pigeon, you can take a figure 4 here. Or you can take another variation of stretching the hip where you can grab your prop, come down onto the forearms, all the way onto the belly, and then just lift whichever leg we're working on, lift that knee up and over your prop. So a little bit less intense way to stretch it. If you're coming into pigeon, we will start with the right. So tabletop position. And then you're just bringing that right knee up between the wrists and sinking back onto the left leg. And you can start to shimmy that right foot so that it's a little more parallel with the top of the mat, but don't kill yourself for it. So people get really hung up on having to be right in alignment with the top of the mat. And that's not really the goal. The goal is to get into this hip flexor. So if you're here, if your foot's sort of down here, but you're feeling the stretch, it's fine. I like to use a bolster in front of me. Some people prefer to come all the way down. So you can really find what works for you. And this is another one of those poses that we're going to stay in for a few breaths. So you really want to find a place where you can settle in. So scooch that left leg back as far as it will go. Scooch that right foot up as far as it will go. take a moment to just check in with your alignment. So again, bringing the shoulders down and back, maybe lift the chin. And then when you're ready, come all the way down. Maybe you come down onto your bolster. Maybe you come all the way down onto the floor. Maybe you stay upright. That's okay too. But wherever you are, take the time here to come back to the breath. Come back to those really big long inhales and exhales that we started with. Allow with every exhale, allow your body to get heavier. Maybe as you exhale, you can scooch that left leg back a little further, or you can scooch that right foot up a little further, just getting little bits of space every time you practice. Because we already did some work on the hips in the beginning of the practice, you should have a little bit more flexibility getting into this than if we were to start off trying to go right into pigeon. You wouldn't probably feel like you could get into it as easily. And that's, again, what it is. It's a practice. Letting the heart rate settle back down. We got it up a little. We're going to take 2 more really big, deep inhales and exhales here. And then when you're complete, we'll come back up. Bring the shoulders down and back. Lift the chin again, and maybe, optional here, maybe play with kicking that left leg up. Reach around with that left arm and see if you can grab your ankle. Just see how it feels. Maybe it's not happening. That's okay. But maybe you can get there and it feels kind of good. You can get a little dynamic tension of that push and pull. Rotate the ankle. And then bring everything down. Push into the palms. Kick that right knee back behind you, back into your tabletop. And we're going to set up and do the same thing now on the left. So when you're ready, you're going to bring that left knee up between the palms, sink back onto the right. So that right leg is going to scooch all the way behind you as far as it can go. And then you're scooching that left foot up as far as it can go until you feel that, what we call that edge, where you feel a stretch. You definitely feel like it's doing something, but it shouldn't be so uncomfortable that you can't stay in the posture. So find your sweet spot, shall we say. Roll the shoulders down and back. Lift the chin, open up your heart. And then exhale, come all the way down. And again, come back to your breath here as your tool. As you're exhaling, can you scooch that right leg back a little further? Can you scooch that left foot up even just a little further? And then settle in. And breathe into the spaces that you feel, that area that's tight. This is one of my favorite restorative postures. I use it in every restorative class that I teach. And the goal here is not to hold it. So you don't want to be holding it and thinking, gosh, when is she going to tell us to get up? But breathe and get heavy. And again, see if you can come back to the breath that we started with, those really deep, long inhales and exhales. Maybe you count even to 6 or 8 as you breathe in. Hold it at the top of the inhale, and then exhale as slow as you can, letting it all go. Resetting. Two more breaths. And then when you're complete, we'll come up again. Come up slow. Find your alignment, roll the shoulders down and back, lift the chin, and maybe play with kicking that right foot up toward you, reaching that right arm all the way back behind and grabbing the ankle. Maybe not, but try. See how you feel. Reaching the left arm forward if you're here, if you're holding on to your ankle. And just getting that dynamic tension of pulling against your ankle as your ankle pulls against your arm. And then we'll let it go. Push into the palms, bring that left knee behind you. And then you can just sit down onto your ankles, crossing them over and coming all the way over onto your back. Grab whatever it is you're using as a strap. So maybe it's a belt, maybe it's a tie, whatever it is. Come all the way down, which in and of itself should feel really yummy right now because we have not laid down on our backs since we started. So knees are pointed up toward the ceiling. Feet are flat on the floor, and you're just going to shimmy and adjust so that you feel like your shoulder blades are flat against the mat. And then extend the left leg all the way out. We'll start with the right. So now just your right knee is pointed up toward the ceiling. Grab your strap, your belt, your tie, whatever you're using, and you're going to take the middle of it, lift that right foot, wrap it around the ball of the right foot. Now, the trick here is to almost imagine that you're doing this in a standing position. So although we're working on the right, your left leg is not just lying there. Your left leg is extended. Your left foot is flexed as if you're standing on your left leg. You're going to grab the straps in your left hand. Right arm is coming down onto the floor. And then you're just going to gently guide that right leg all the way over toward the right while guiding it up toward your shoulder. So to give you an idea of the stretch that you're looking to get here, eventually the idea is that you can grab your toe in a yoga toe lock here, and then you can extend that right leg all the way out to the side and imagine that you're standing on your left foot as you do this. That's where you're headed with this. If you're nowhere near there, that's okay. That's why we're using the strap. That's why it's a practice. So just letting that right leg gently go over toward the right side and then gently guide it up toward your shoulder. And breathe. Keeping the left leg extended, left foot is flexed. Breathing into that space as you exhale. Can you get a little further? One more big breath on this side. One more big exhale. And then inhale, bend that knee, bring that leg all the way back up, undo the strap, bring the knee in and give that knee a couple little circles, and then a couple circles the opposite way. And then we're switching sides. So you're going to extend that right leg all the way down, lift that left knee up so the knee is pointed toward the ceiling. Grab your strap. Again, taking the middle of the strap, you're going to wrap it around of your left foot this time, but not forgetting about the right side. That right leg is still extended, right foot is still flexed. Grab the strap with your right hand. Left hand is coming down onto the ground. And again, you're going for the idea of letting the leg go toward the left, but then also you're gently guiding it toward your shoulder. I got to give myself a little more room. And breathing into that space. I've done a lot with hips tonight, so you might feel it tomorrow, but it should also feel really good. It's a really good release. One more big breath in. One more big breath out. And then you can take a little bend in that knee and guide that foot all the way back up. Undo the strap, bring the knee in and make a few circles here. And a few circles the other way. And then bring both knees back up toward the ceiling. Feet are flat on the floor. Give yourself whatever little adjustments you need to make sure that your shoulders are nice and flat on the mat. You're going to cross your legs as if you're sitting in a chair. So crossing that right leg over the left. And then the legs are going to gently go toward the right side. And you're going to feel that in that outer edge of the left hip. And you can look toward the left if you want to get a little bit of a stretch in the neck here too. And again, this is one of those where sitting with it and using your breath as a tool are really what are going to sort of get you the most out of it. So as you exhale, can you let those knees get a little heavier toward the floor? One more big breath here. Big exhale. And then inhale, bring the knees back up to center, switch your cross. So bringing that left knee, now crossing it over the right leg. So again, as if you're sitting in a chair, but just switching sides. And then you're letting the knees fall all the way over toward the left. Find where you can settle in. Maybe your gaze goes to the right. And again, using your breath as a tool here as you exhale, can you let those knees get a little heavier toward the floor? One more big breath in here. One more big breath out. Knees back to center. We'll end using our supports now on either side. So if you've got a pillow and a blanket, set them up so that we're settling back in kind of the way we started, but instead of the bolster being underneath your back, you're going to use those to support the legs on either side. Bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees fall out to the side. Maybe you place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. taking time here for a little bit of a Shavasana. Thank yourself for showing up and giving yourself this time to reset, to let go of the stuff, to set yourself up for a new week, for whatever new positive energy and adventure is coming your way. Really tune into the breath here. So coming back to those really deep inhales, exhales, and maybe you even feel that as you're breathing in, you can feel the abdomen expand and the chest expand. Hold it there at the top. Breathe in just a little bit more. Exhale nice and slow. And do another little body scan here. Check in and find any place where maybe you still are holding on to a little bit of tension. And can you let it go? Loosen the jaw, relax the shoulders. And you can feel free to stay here and soak in the rest of your practice. Or if you feel like you're complete, you can gently bring the knees together, draw them into your chest, and then take a little rock and roll, maybe 2 or 3 of those. Just really get into the spine a little. And come all the way up back into an easy seat. And we will close out our practice. I went a little longer than an hour because I was chatty in the beginning. So I do this in all of my classes. Bringing the palms to the heart center and bowing my chin to my chest. The light in me honors the light in all of you. Thank you for sharing your practice with me, and hopefully you feel a little calmer and a little bit better and ready to start the week ahead. And just a reminder of that affirmation that we started with: there is a stream of love supporting your dreams. I will see you next week. Namaste.